Yo, what's up guys, Aiden here. So today in this video I want to do a little bit of an account review. So some of you might know that I recently added $9,000 to my account. However, a few days ago I withdrew 10,000 from my account. So I want to look at why I did that and how the extra capital was affecting my trading and the psychology and the emotions that changed and came with that larger account. And then secondly, I would like to do or go over a few trades that I took with that larger account. And yeah, it really is poor trading. So I'm sure you'll be able to understand after seeing these trades why I withdrew the money. Let's have a look. All right, cool. So just before we have a look at some charts, I would like to speak a little bit about the psychology of adding that 10K to my account and how it affected me and how it changed my trading. So the first day that I added that 10K, 9K to my account, I actually had a great day. I had my second four-figure day in 2 years, which was great. I felt really positive from that. But what happened to me after that is I went on a drawdown. I think I had 5 red days in a row, which is okay. I can live with that. But the manner in which I had those red days was completely unacceptable. I was breaking all kinds of rules and being completely degenerate, over trading and jumping into setups that I had no business in. So in the end, I knew something had to be done, and I kind of was able to recognize the feeling that was in me when I was trading was horrible, really. I went through a big drawdown sort of 3 years ago, much more extreme than I'm experiencing now. And that feeling of just over trading and being degenerate and gambling, essentially gambling, was a horrible feeling, and it kind of really reminded me of how I felt a few years ago. So as soon as I could, the one thing I did well really was I recognized that and straight away withdrew 10,000 from my account. I had previously been trading really well, and I do think that I was justified to add that money to my account. However, what happened was my perspective on what I should be making in a day went into fantasy land. I've had 2 four-figure days in the past 2 years, and all of a sudden in my mind I was making 5 grand in a day, and then maybe the next day I was going to make 10 grand. My perspective completely lost touch with reality and lost touch with what the markets were currently offering. There was a big discrepancy with what I could make in my mind compared to what the markets were currently offering. And with that in mind, I made the decision to withdraw that money. And today is my first day currently trading back with an account of $14,000. And I've got to say, today I'm trading pretty well. So it's funny what a shift it's made in my mind. So yeah, I'm not completely opposed to re-adding that money to my account later on down the line, but for now I know that I've got to restabilize and prove to myself that I have got discipline and I can execute my plan, because what I just experienced was quite scary to me. I had previously thought that I was past that. I have had times when I've adapted well to shifts in the market, and that's the reason why I added this money to my account, because I thought I'd proven to myself that I can adapt. However, having that more money in my account, I didn't slow down when the market slowed down, and that's kind of worrying to me. All right, cool. So I could have chosen any number of tickers over the past 5 days to speak about. 5 days has been the current length of my drawdown. But I'm just going to go over 2, and I'm going to choose my 2 worst trades, my most embarrassing trades. And I hope that all I can do is really acknowledge that this is what I've done and hopefully learn from it. But it really is bad trading. So the first one I'd like to look at is XHG. I guess many of you watching this, or perhaps some of you watching this, will be aware that at this moment in time we do have some sector momentum. Chinese stocks are currently running because I think there's been some stimulus in the Chinese economy from the government, as is my understanding. But fundamentals is definitely not my strong point. So as a result of that, we do see the Chinese tickers running. Now, I'm relatively inexperienced with sector momentum, and so I'm kind of just, the best thing I could be doing is just watching and learning, which I am doing for part, but also I am sort of having a bit of FOMO and missing out, and it's led me to do irrational things, as well as having that extra large account and then seeing these explosive moves. It was a bad cocktail, really. So with XHG, we can look at the daily chart. We can see that it is capable of making these big moves. And this day here was the day I traded it, and it was sort of had a nice kind of 200% move off $1, which is great, really. That nice whole round number to work off. Jump to the intraday chart. Now, if I was to talk about Chinese pumps, and that my number one rule when trading is not to dip buy Chinese pumps, not to panic dip buy Chinese pumps. What I mean by Chinese pump would be something like dogs, and the daily chart kind of looks like this. They have these like big run-ups, and then there's big dumps, and there's big run-ups, there's these grinding run-ups, and then these dumps. This is the Chinese pump. So EJH is another one. This tends to do it. Let's have a look. Is it EJH? There's one there, but I'm sure it had bigger run-ups in the past. Yeah, here's one. Look. There we go. That's more like it. Look at this, and then absolute dump. So that's what I mean by not dip buying a Chinese pump. I mean stocks that generally have these charts. That being said, XHG doesn't have this kind of a same, run up and dump as other Chinese stocks, but it's kind of not too far off at the same time, but I guess these spikes gave me some belief that it wasn't a complete and utter pump. That being said, this is how undisciplined I was. I didn't even check the filings. Okay, I didn't even check the filings. I did afterwards, and I saw that the risk of an offering or dilution was incredibly high, and that's what this is. This is just absolute liquidation play in the company, selling stock and making money so the company can survive. That's what this was. Not in a million years should I be dip buying that, but I did. And the further it went, again, the better the risk reward. I thought it might do over and under $1, so I kind of bought it, and then it just so heavy, and then I sold, and then I've tried again, and then the one thing I did good here is in the end, I just said, I've seen this so many times, I could end up losing a lot of money here. And I eventually, even though I had cash left in my account, I closed the computer and I stopped trading. So that's the one good thing I did in this instant. That being said, yeah, I'm sure many of you guys will probably look at this and think, what on earth were you thinking? Well, the answer to that is I wasn't really. I was trading emotionally from previous days, and I had FOMO, and yeah, it was just my process was not there at all in terms of checking the filings. It was more, just complete emotional trading, to be honest. So that's the first one, that's XHG, and then the second one I'd like to look at is VTNR. Okay, now this particular ticker is a bottom bounce. And I believe I traded this on the same day, this day here, Monday. So this is the same day I traded the other ticker, I believe, which was XHG. So I traded this first, and because I took a loss on this, it kind of just led me into an impulsive trade on XHG a little bit later in the day. It just snuck up on me, and I just went for it. So let me show you how I traded this. But this is a BK bounce, which is one of Roland Wolf's strategies, which is basically where the company announces that it's gone bankrupt, has a big gap down, then it sort of forms a base and it has a bounce. I'm not entirely sure the reason for the bounce. It's probably shorts covering, but I will ask Roland that to clarify. I just know that it does. They can sometimes have a bounce. That being said, you still want to get good risk reward, and what we were seeing here on the intraday is that it was kind of forming. Let's go to the 3-minute chart. It was kind of forming this base around 11 cents here, and then on this day when it had this perk, I ended up chasing it and buying it sort of around 12.5 or something like that. And that's look, on the one side you can say, well, it's down a lot, and so it's showing signs of strength, but I am there chasing. I'm buying towards the top of its range, I want to be getting in as close to 11 as I possibly can, and then perhaps risking off the round number of 10, or risk off the round number, or risk off 11, because that's where the base is formed. But I didn't. I chased it up here, and then when it had this flush in the morning, I took a hit and just cut it. The thesis was, or is, possibly still correct. It is still intact, but the correct entry, after taking this loss, I just don't want to look at the ticker anymore, but the correct entry was when it pulled the next day and held 11. Should have been getting in around there. I guess just one more thing to mention here is that I am aware that I'm currently not studying enough. I am spending my time during the quiet periods of the market by watching Netflix. I like watching Harry Potters and watching documentaries and watching all sorts. And it's easy because it's so addictive to watch that kind of stuff. And it's so easy to do that when you're working from home. But I've had to have a word with myself and just realise that that's not going to get me to where I want to be. And in the future, it's possible that I will work the first few hours from home while the market is, pre-market, in the first 2 hours of the market. But then I might go out somewhere to work, because generally during this time in the middle of the day, I take less trades anyway, if any. So I can be outside of the house. And I know when I'm outside of the house, just naturally I'm more productive if I'm sort of in a cafe or somewhere like that. I actually use a health club called David Lloyd, and their internet's quite good there. So it's possible I will start working from there as of next week, depending on a few things, but we'll see. Cool, so that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Moving forward, I just want to see how I react to trading once again with a smaller account after withdrawing this $10,000. The idea is for me to regain discipline and regain a bit of confidence as well. I've taken, I've traded badly. I've sort of shaken a bit of my self-belief. So I just want to size down, see if I can find a bit of consistency again, get back to what I was doing previously, which was making me money, and continue in that manner. So again, thank you very much for watching. I will see you on the next one. Cheers.